Welcome to Crafty Hints. I'm Chantel. I'm so excited to have you here today. Welcome. Today I'm going to be doing some tier tray minis. To start with my first one, I took a K-cup, and if you open these up, of course they have the coffee. After you've used it, you can see a little hole. There's a filter in there, so you just have to take out the coffee and the filter. Make sure it's not the one with the filter on the bottom. Well, I do like to use those as far as waste and not using the plastic, but this came in handy and it had my favorite coffee. Oh my goodness, that holiday blend is amazing. Anyways, I started with some jute twine, and the first two layers I just went and kept doing glue, every half an inch or so. Then you just can sit there and spin it and add a dab of glue here and there. I didn't get all of the filter out, which is okay because I will be putting a liner in here. So just continue on till you get almost up to the top. And then I got to a spot in my jute twine where it was kind of bumpy. And so then I decided, you know what, this is a good spot to put something else at the top. And so first I thought, well, I'm going to put my handle. This would be a good spot to cover it. And I was debating whether I do it on the outside or the inside. I went ahead and did it on the inside. So I didn't necessarily need to pause at this moment for it, but I thought that was a good spot to do so. So, if you're wanting to put that on the outside instead. Next, I took the jute twine and I just sat there and twisted it. I thought that would give it just a little bit of a different texture at the top. It would make it a little bit thicker and just gave it kind of a little bit of a decorative piece at the top. Gave it a good finish to edge. So I continued that up for about 2 to 3 rows and just finish it at that edge. And I like to kind of snip this at an angle. It tends to tuck in there. Then I got this burlap ribbon, and you're going to put the right side and glue it to the inside lip. So I just put that to the handle and then I clipped it and then I did the other half. This will give us a nice liner. Depending, as you can probably tell, we're making a little basket. And I was thinking I would put flowers in there, but I wasn't sure. And if I decide to take the flowers out, then I do have a nice little finish lined basket, quotes. Next, I took some of my rope and I just untwisted it and took one of the strands and I separated it just a bit. Oh, a little bit out of frame there. I'm sorry. And I'm just covering that ledge there. Doesn't it give it a cute kind of basket effect? I really like how that turned out. Just kind of looks like that wicker twine or wicker reed kind of at the top of a basket. I thought it was cute. I did another piece on the inside just to give it a nice finished edge inside as well. Then I just took a lighter and took care of those little fuzzies. I put a little bit of foam in there and then I decided to put these flowers in. So choose whatever flowers will fit your tier tray or the colors of your home. I thought that these went nicely. And then I just took some of the leaves off and attached it to a piece of wire so that I could tuck it in there. And just fit your leaves around, move your flowers around until, it makes you happy. For example, I clipped off one of the leaves here and then I glued it down in another spot. Isn't that cute? I thought it was kind of sweet. All right, let's go to DIY 2. I made a little bird's nest. You might have saw it at the end there. So I started out with this Spanish moss, and you just kind of want to play with it. But I did put gloves on because I'm going to use some spray adhesive. That spray adhesive is very tacky, so this worked very well. I just sprayed it and kind of thought like a bird maybe. I just kept turning it so that that adhesive was all through it. Oh, there was a twig right in with the moss already. And as I went, I just sprayed a little bit more when I thought it needed to be a little more tacky. But it's almost kind of like working with clay a little bit. You know how you have, if you're doing like a clay or a pinch pot, you're kind of going with your fingers in the middle and just continue forming it with your hands. But you might want a little bit of stability on the bottom. And so that's when I came in with some little sticks on the bottom. So just grab some sticks from outside and I kind of crisscross them there. That'll give it a little extra stability, but do make sure it's kind of flat on the bottom so that wherever you set it, it'll sit nicely. And I just continued forming it, and I will leave this to dry. And I did let it dry overnight. As I got it close to the way I wanted it, I didn't want it to fully relax overnight. So I took a rubber band and I just put it around there to hold the form just a little bit more. Sprayed a little more adhesive. And then I basically let it sit overnight. Next day, I just took off the rubber band and I came in with some matte clear coat and I sprayed both sides. This will just hold everything in place. You could probably use hairspray also, but it's just something to hold it together. And then I didn't have any mini eggs, so these are the Cadbury chocolate eggs. So, of course, these are only going to be for this season. Don't want any bugs or anything later. So I'll just use them for this season. I started to glue them down. I only glued one, but how real does that look? Is that not adorable? Looks like little robin's eggs. Okay, this is crafted by Corie's mini challenge that I'm participating in, as well as many others. So you're going to want to go to the playlist below, as well as go to Corie's channel and subscribe. But you're going to get so many ideas from her and the playlist that's linked below. If you love minis as much as I do, you're gonna want to check it out. All right, let's get to DIY 3. I took this Waverly pool chalk paint and painted 2 tumbling tower blocks and a little wooden circle that I got in like a pack of 6 from Walmart. Now this is just tissue paper. You want to make sure if your tissue paper has a little bit of a shiny side on the other side, that you're using the side that is not shiny. I think I need to get some other paper. I think it was a little bit shiny. This may have been some of my Christmas tissue paper, but I really like the real sheer stuff to do this DIY. I also normally do this on something that I paint white, but I'm trying it on that pool color. See what we think. So I'm taping it to a sheet of just letter paper. I ran it through my printer. I can link this below because I did create this on my own. If you like it, you're welcome to use it. It just says live life in full bloom. I thought it was pretty. And so I'm using some Mod Podge and little bit. That's what I have learned. See how you can hardly see it at all? That's what you want to do. Just a tiny bit on the bottom. Try and center that. I realize, oh, I should maybe trim the top a little bit so I can see that edge better. And just line that up. And then press it down and go across it, just making sure it's smooth. think my issue in the past has always been I've been more liberal with it. So I've learned just add a little bit and it goes a long ways. See, this is a good resource if you don't have a Cricut or you don't have anything special. Usually you've got some tissue paper laying around and the computer and the printer. So this is another great way to personalize your crafts. And so I just did that all the way across the front, and then I set it aside for it to completely dry. And I just went on and worked on another mini, really, while it dried. All right, so finishing up this part. I really didn't want that edge to lift, so I really wanted to make sure that I covered it all. And then it was dry, so I just went back over the top. I probably could have been maybe just a little more liberal with it than I was here, but this worked just fine the way I was doing it, just making sure that you're getting it all the way across so it fully seals it in. When it was completely dry, I came back with just an emery board and went all the way around the edges, and it gives you that nice finished edge that you may not be able to trim as well with your scissors. I took those 2 tumbling tower blocks and I just stacked them and glued the bottom there. Now I'm just going to glue the circle right to the one that's standing vertically. And that's about it for this. This gives me a nice little stand for my circle. And our first 3 DIYs. I think those are adorable and a great start for spring. I tried to be very careful. I wanted to get to Easter, but I'm holding back. All right, DIY 4. I took 4 tumbling tower blocks. I painted them in plaster. And now I'm just putting a little bit of hot glue in between the blocks. This would be another way if you wanted to personalize them with the tissue paper again. You know, you could print a whole sheet. I usually try to do a sheet, but I only had the one DIY to do this time. And I just put it against one of the other blocks. Now, if you didn't see me make these carrots in my last video, I'm going to show you right here. I'm going to link my other video. So if you'd like to see how to make these carrots, I bet you have the resources on hand in your craft supplies. All right. Just going to glue those 2 different sizes. I thought it was just so cute. You could also use the little wooden carrots that I've seen at the Dollar Tree. I don't know that 3 would fit on here, but maybe if you make 2 of these and 1 of theirs, it's another way to go. So cute. And a sneak peek at our other DIY. DIY 5. Okay, I took this tea light apart. First, I painted one of these little, it's a little wedding favor. They come in a pack of 3 buckets, and I painted that in silver lining. Now I'm just going over it with some candle wax. Wherever the candle wax is where the other paint coat is not going to adhere. And I think it's about time for some new pool color. It's starting to get a little bit thicker. I added some water, but it's just not perfect. All right, and I went a little bit crazy with my wet wipe, and part of it I rubbed all the way to the white again, but that was easy to touch up. I want this to be like an old weathered bucket that has just been out, and seen so many seasons that, it got turned into a planter instead of a bucket. So you could also do this with the K-cups. So you could turn that into a bucket instead of a basket. So as you can see, I can just wipe that wax off really with my fingers, and it just comes right off. And then I'm just coming back and touching up any of those spots that it was white. Excuse me. I think it looks just adorable. Now I'm just trimming up some odd and ends flowers that I had. Put a little bit of moss down over the top of some floral foam and just poking it down with a flower stem so that it kind of makes that moss kind of, it holds it to the foam. And just start poking them in. Again, whatever you would like to add in there would be fine. If you wanted to add the little eggs to this, that could be cute too. If you're enjoying this video, I do hope that you've already given me a thumbs up and you've hit that subscribe. And most of all, share with your friends and family. If you have another crafter that likes crafts and you think they'd like me too, share my channel. But I love reading the comments. I really do. If you've ever commented on any of my videos, you know that I reply to every single comment. So I'm anxious or excited to read your comments and find out which one you like the best and what else you think I should add to my tier tray for next month when I make some Easter tier tray items. So that's what I'll do next month for Corie's challenge. I try to do her challenge each month, and it's usually the third Friday of the month. So if you love minis, I have those each month. So fun and cute. Oh, if you like that Peter Cottontail sign too, I made that in another video as well. It was the same video as the carrots. Here's the last one, and I don't know if it's a full DIY, but I got this from Target, in their Bullseyes playground or whatever they're calling it. And I wanted a white tier tray. All of mine have a wood grain. So I decided to take it apart. I do like that it has a Lazy Susan at the bottom. I debated whether I was going to take the poles off, but I decided just a little bit of painter's tape would be fine. I'm going in with that plaster again by Waverly. It is one of my favorite colors. It isn't a stark white and it isn't quite ivory. It's just a hint, a hint past white maybe. Is that eggshell maybe? Kind of? All right, I'm giving this a coat, and I kind of liked that it still had a bit of a wood, or it's a faux wood grain, but it's a wood grain to it. And then I painted the edges as well, being kind of careful. And then I just took off the tape. I think this is kind of the moment. Did I get it right? Yes. And that's just paint that was on the tape there, so it's not wet paint. And then I just put it back together. Of course, I had let it all dry, and those are the pieces that connect it to that Lazy Susan. But don't be afraid to make something your own. And those tier trays are $5. So I think they're a pretty cost-effective way to start out with a tiered tray. I have some bigger ones as well, but it's fun to have a couple smaller ones. All right, here it is, all put together with all of the items I made today. I want to thank you so much for watching my channel and for watching this video. I appreciate each and every one of you. And if you have any additional thoughts or comments, I can't wait to read them. I'm going to link a couple of videos right here for you. So thank you so very much. Have a wonderful day. Don't forget the playlist and Corie's channel.